a cup of tea. So. Lovely. Hey. Hang on. Another cup of tea. Yeah. Give me a second. Oh, my goodness. Ah. Yes. I think I'll sing a song. Don't know if you know this. Maybe someone will know it. But it goes, ancient words forever true, changing me and changing you. We have come with open hearts. Oh, let the ancient words impart. Ancient words forever true, changing me and changing you. We have come with open hearts. Oh, let the ancient words impart. Everybody! Ancient words forever true, changing me and changing you. We have come with open hearts. Oh, let the ancient words impart. We have come with open hearts. Oh, let the ancient words impart. Ancient words forever true, changing me and changing you. We have come with open hearts. Oh, let the ancient words impart. Oh, lovely. Good on you singing out there. Yeah, I've been doing some flicking, and I just want to share what I've been flicking too. Yeah, well, I've been thinking about Genesis and Abraham, and just how he had a spot, like he used to sit in the cool of the day. There was one bit there. He's sitting in the heat of the day. Sorry, he's sitting in the heat of the day, and but he had a habit of sitting there, and he was a blessed man, and if you want to think about something, it's good to ask questions and say, how come that person got so blessed? How did he get so fruitful, so blessed, And when you do a bit of a thing like a research on Abraham, you find out, man, that guy actually ushered in one of the greatest blessings known to mankind. And some would say, God's done nothing for me, but reality is that God has done everything for you, for me, for them. And one of the reasons that we have that blessing is a bloke called Abraham. And so you want to be blessed, start thinking about how this chap used to live, how his habits. So you think about, okay, so this bloke, he was sitting by under this tree at this place. He'd sit there, and it says in the heat of the day. But I reckon for him it would have been a cool place, And he'll sit there and he'd have a break. And I think the principle of just having a breather, or just having a break, and he just sit down in the heat of the day. Like a lot of people just go, and their soul is like totally sucked dry, like just going through the motions. Where I think Abraham was a bloke that knew how to stop. He sort of have that bit of a break in the heat of the day. He knew, okay, he was a hard worker, but he He just knew how to stop and just have a break, you know. Anyway, while he was sitting there, he looked up, and these three men, they came towards him. But Abraham not only had natural perception and could see that there were three men there, but he knew that there was something really different, really different about these blokes. He's like, mate. So he ran over and he greeted them, and he literally bowed down to the ground. I mean, you don't do that. Just these people, strangers walking out, you know, start bowing down to him or something. But don't shoot through too quick. Well, that's probably didn't say shoot through, but maybe you did. Maybe you did say don't shoot through. But basically, just thinking about things, you know, like thinking about that little bit in there where he was the heat of the day. He was sitting there under his tree, and hello, these three chaps came along, these three blokes, and they caught Abraham's attention to really, these people really I need to look after these people. I need to give them some hospitality, you know, like really need to look after them. So he went to extreme. He said, look, don't shoot through, don't pass me by straight away. You've got something to do, you know, but just wait a while. I just want to let me come and sit under my tree, come and have a feed, and after I'll wash your feet and everything. And once you've done that, you can go. But just let me do that for you. And one of the men said, yes, go and do that. So he went away and he prepared everything. Says he went and got the young fellas, and said, "Oh, get the calf ready." So they had some T-bone veal. He said to his wife, you know, make some bread. So he made some bread. She made the bread, and then they sat down, and then the rest of the story ushered in the blessing, and that they actually gave a prophetic word to Abraham, and a lot of other stuff there. And then even said on their passing note, they said, well, as they were going, they said, shall I show Abraham what I'm going to do? And they ended up showing Abraham what they were going to do. They actually revealed what was going to happen. And anyway, Abraham was blessed, and just the fact that he was sitting, I just want to go whoop, whoop. Go back to that, you know, just sitting under his tree in the heat of the day, and meditating, just sitting there thinking, probably praying to God or something. Oh, I love you, God, you know. And all of a sudden, these people came across his path. So Abraham was in the right place at the right time, in the right moment, in the right season, in the right, you know, that tree, obviously the Lord put that tree there for Abraham, and that was his tree. He'd sit under that tree, and I reckon there probably was a cool breeze that had come down that way. The Lord would have blessed him with a cool breeze, but it says it was the heat of the day. It was a hot time, so the place to be was under that tree. And, you know, just thinking about those things, it gets you thinking about, you know, maybe you could read Genesis chapter 1 or something, you know, and it says that God, that Abraham, that Adam and Eve, they sinned, and they did the wrong thing, and they hid. And they could hear God's voice as he's walking in the garden, and they hid, and it said in the cool of the day. So things hadn't gotten hot by then, but Adam and Eve actually brought in, they made things sort of change the whole atmosphere of the planet, you know, like just, it used to be the cool of the day, and then it became the heat of the day. And anyway, they hid and sort of messed things up. But then Abraham came along in the heat of the day, under his lovely tree that God had obviously provided for him, and he got the blessing. You know, he actually ushered in a powerful blessing. You know, that's why Jesus was there. And then the other thing that I was thinking about is, you know, how did Abraham perceive that? You know, and so you start thinking about John John chapter 3. And John had a conversation with a man, and he said to Jesus, "Oh, I could see that you're a man of God because all these miracles, like trying to be really smart and that." And then, like, "Oh yes, we can see you're a man of God by all these miracles you're doing." And Jesus sorted him out. He said, "Look, like the wind, you don't know where." Because they were going with natural perception, so it wasn't until things were really actually happening. But if you get in a good place with God, you'll get in a good place with God. Like you'll end up in the right place at the right time, and you end up being a blessing to the right people. So John chapter 3, Jesus said, you can't enter the kingdom of heaven unless you're born again. And when I think about that, there's another story that you can go over to a man named Elijah, that he could see angels, he could see everything. He wasn't stressed. Like his servant, he had a servant. He was like, he had to calm him down. He said, "God, show him what you're showing me," And then the servant could see that, hey, there was these, I think it was the Syrians or something, these huge, big mob, crazy mob of people. They might not have been crazy, maybe just, I don't know, but they, anyway, this big mob army or whatever, and then he could see the angels. He saw the army, and then he saw the angels. Oh, okay, we're all good. And that's the same with natural perception, and then spiritual insight or spiritual knowledge. It's not necessarily, you don't have to see that. You can just know that and believe that. And if you can come to that place, it's actually better than seeing. But if you believe the word of God, that God has made it, that it's better just to believe his word. Anyway, John chapter 3, and Jesus said, "Unless you be born again." So what happens when you're born again? Maybe you don't know what born again is. Born again just means that you start to see in Isaiah that it says, "See my servant will act wisely, be raised and lifted up, highly exalted. And just as there were many who were appalled at him, his appearance was so disfigured beyond that of any man, and his form marred beyond human likeness. So shall he sprinkle many nations, and kings will shut their mouths because of him. For what they not see, what they not heard, something." Anyway, basically, they could see it, but they didn't see it. They could hear it, but they didn't hear it. But there came a time when they could see it, and they could hear it. It's in their spirit, So. I think Abraham was blessed because he could sense things and he could know things, and that was actually given to him by God. Just that Abraham sitting in the. But that's what you got to do. You got to you get a scripture, you get a word from the Lord, and then you can branch off from there, and you start thinking about it, and you start thinking about Abraham sitting in the heat of the day under his nice cool tree, and then you start thinking about, okay, well, how did Abraham know that these people and who they were and that they were worthy of, or that's because God, he was a friend of God, and I think. What does it mean to be a friend of God? Yeah, love him, do the right thing by him, obey his commandments. And then that's in John, I think, the book of John or something. But anyway, I'm just sort of thinking out loud here. But you basically, just start thinking about, just think about it and then branch off, just start thinking about, okay, well, that gives you a good start. If you're, you got, what do we got? Genesis Genesis chapter, Genesis chapter 18, and the other one was in Genesis at the start there somewhere. You can flick through and find it. And then John chapter 3. So, yeah, that's good stuff to think about. But yeah, just I'll leave it at that. But till we meet again.